Everyone, it's your boy Ben and JB from JBM Sports Media, and here we are with another episode of Diamond Discussions. Yes, we haven't done one in a minute. We've kind of been letting time pass as the season goes. Obviously, we're about how many games in, do you think, JB? 15-ish games?
15, yeah.
15 games in. So we've been already 2 weeks in practically, and it's been very up and down. We started off both of our teams with the highs, but now, unfortunately, I mean, I know Mike's not here, but even his team, we've hit the lows. We've hit the lows, and we got to talk about it. We're not even going to hesitate. We're going to go straight into it. Real quick, I guess we'll start off with JV's team, the Yankees, and obviously the Rays sweep the Yankees at Tropicana Field this weekend, sending them on a 5-game losing streak. The first time the Rays have swept New York in a 3-game set since April of 2021. So it's been actually, sorry.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Wait till the Brewers right now. But what do you think about this, JB? I caught a little bit of this series, actually.
This was not a good series. I mean, obviously it's a sweep, so it can't be a good series. But I mean, the Yankees now, just to give you a little bit of perspective of where they're sitting, in 15 games, they've been in 6 one-run games, right? So that's almost half of their year they've been in one-run games.
Wow.
They're 0-6. They're 0-6 in those one-run games. 0-6. Now let me just make something clear to a lot of people. I listen, I understand there's a lot of Yankee fans out there and fans in general of teams right now that should be playing well and that are struggling, right? They say, oh, it's April, get this out of the way. Your best baseball is not going to be played till the summer anyway. That's where you really start to come into your own. I don't want to hear that anymore, okay? Because Aaron Judge said this best. The start of the San Francisco series, opening week, he had a team-only meeting, players-only meeting, and he said, guys, the reason why we lost the division last year and we had the same record as the Blue Jays was because of the way we played in June. We cannot have months where we sit back and feel like we're okay and that we could take the foot off the gas. That cannot be. We have to treat each and every month as just as important as the month prior, right? So we have to make sure that we're on top of our game. We cannot have months where we slack, we go on a 7 or 8 game losing streak. We can't have that. We have to be locked in and we have to make sure that we're doing our job. And the first 10 games looked great. They were 8-2, and now the last 5 have looked absolutely putrid. And just to give you some numbers of what's been actually going on, I have them literally right in front of me. They have 25 hits in 5 games. So if you do the math, that's 5 hits a game. You're not going to win a lot of games averaging 5 hits a game, okay? 13 runs scored in 5 games. That's 2.6 runs a game. You're not going to win a lot of games scoring 2.6 runs a game, okay? 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position was another game that they had. Today was 2 for 12, and then another one was 3 out of the last 10 were they able to convert with runners in scoring position. The bottom line is this: good pitching and poor hitting is what's going to make you lose a lot of games. When you have games where you're losing 3-2, 2-1, 4-3, what does that show you? It shows that your pitching is keeping you in ball games, but your offense is just not doing their job. And right now, we have about 6 hitters in the lineup that aren't hitting. You can't go with 9 guys in the lineup and 6 aren't hitting. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Judge is at right now. Ben Rice looks like he's absolutely. He looks like he's hitting a beach ball out there. I mean, the guy looks like he goes up to the plate and he can manipulate any count. He looks extremely tough. He's extremely tough out. Trent Grisham looks lost. We kind of expected that. Jazz Chisholm, I'm not sure if he knows the actual rules of baseball. So we have to discuss his baseball IQ because that was just putrid. I mean, the fact that you're going to go out there and then you have Jazz Chisholm in the back at an interview explaining to him the play that happened at the end of the game in the second game of the series, where he actually explains the whole play correctly. He says, "I wanted to tag the runner and throw to first." Okay, that's perfectly fine. Then he goes, "What happens if I would have thrown to first and then he would have threw back to second?" Well, you got to get both of them out in order for the inning to end,
right?
And the run not to score. He goes, "Would that have counted as an RBI?" My man, is that what you're worried about? You're worried about if the RBI would have been recorded as a stat? You need to worry about that you didn't make the play and that you're worried about if you would have threw to first, what would happen to the play at second? And then you hear Trent Grisham in the back saying, no, the tag has to be made and then you have to make the throw over and then you have to make sure that happens before the run scores. He goes, oh, so I guess whatever I thought was going to happen wouldn't have worked. That's just bad baseball IQ. It's not for nothing. And then Aaron Boone, of course, comes to his defense. He's a great guy, great player, smart. No, he's not a smart player. Smart players don't have these lapses in the field Last year, if everybody remembers, he had that play with the fly ball against Miami where he thought, let me just let this ball drop in front of me and I'll try to make the force play. That didn't happen. And now he has the same brain fart where he has the kind of the right idea where he wants to tag the runner at second and throw it first. We can't have things like this happening in April. This is not conducive to winning baseball, folks. I don't know how else to tell you. We can't be 8-2 and then look up and in a weekend we're 8-7. It's just not. And look at the way Toronto's playing. They just got their asses beat by the Twins. Yep. I mean, realistically, what's going on? And Baltimore just swept San Francisco, they're just a putrid organization right now. San Francisco can't buy a win. I think they're 6-11 right now. I don't know what's going on with them.
You guys, so they're 8-7 as well now.
Tampa now they pull up and they are back in the division. And we could have really made some noise just by winning 2 out of 3. That would have been like, all right, now we got to really our foot on the pedal here and our foot on the throat of Toronto, making it hard for them. Boston has not looked good. The Yankees really dropped the ball this weekend, and I hate to say it. They dropped the ball mightily. They could have took 2 out of 3. You lose to Oakland. Okay, it happens. I get it. But then you limp into this series, and you completely shit the bed. Terrible series. Honestly, terrible series. I don't care that it's April. I don't care that they're going to be fine in a couple of weeks, and they'll get out of this. We cannot have baseball games like this and series like this if you want to win the division. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Because guess what? In September, we're going to come back to this and say, if they would have won those games in April, they would win the division, and then it goes right back to that narrative. So I don't want to hear people say, get this out of the way. No, you can't get this out of the way. You can't lose 5 or 6 in a row to start the year after you were 8-2 in your first 10. To me, it's just bad baseball, and it has to be fixed.
And I think one thing I saw from this series, I saw a clip of it online, actually, and it was just such a slap in the face because Ryan McMahon looks like he can't even cut into the Savannah Bananas roster at the current moment. That guy looks like an absolute fucking jobber. And I will say this, there was a moment where they walked Wells today in the game, and what a slap in the face. Honestly, Ryan McMahon, if you're watching this, I hope you are, because that is an absolute slap in the face. They walked Austin Wells to get to you, and in one pitch, you ground out, game over.
Yep.
What a slap in the face that is. So you got to wake the fuck up. You got to find a way to wake the fuck up because Volpe's right around the corner. Caballero might lose his spot. Honestly, Caballero's probably going to lose his spot. He's looking he's an ass. So
and I've been telling this to everybody for months. He is a backup player or utility player that we're hoping can give us starter-like play. That was something that I knew was a toss-up, right? Yes, he was great last year in the spots that he was put in. Very advantageous. When he came in, he did his thing. And let me tell you something, I appreciate it because there was a lot of bad play from the shortstop position, and the Yankees were able to get that with Caballero. And let me tell you something, he came up with a couple of big hits yesterday, which was great to see. A little too, obviously too short and not as much as they needed in the prior innings. They needed that production earlier in the game, but he has not been good. And Anthony Volpe right now is probably sitting back and looking like they need me right now. They need my bat. They need my bat in the lineup. He's a little bit better of a hitter, has more pop. Obviously, we've seen Volpe hit 18 to 20 home runs, in the early part of his career. We know he has some pop. Obviously, his average and his strikeouts are a problem. But right now, Anthony Volpe is the better option at shortstop right now. I hate to tell people this. I really do. And they've even put Brian McMahon at shortstop, trying to facilitate the fact that Caballero doesn't have the pop and is not as good as I guess McMahon defensively. I'm not really too sure what they're trying to do there, but Ryan McMahon is running himself out of New York. I'll tell you right now, I don't care how much money he's making. He is running himself out of a job, and George Lombard may be up sooner rather than later. Yeah. Honestly, I hate to say this. He may be rushed a year early, but let me tell you something. He may have to come up, and not for nothing. Jason Dominguez, if I was Jason Dominguez, I would request a trade. Trade. You have me rotting here in AAA just because I can't play defense, maybe because you have me playing the wrong position. I should be playing center field, and I have to stare at Trent Grisham hitting 100, and I'm in AAA.
Jesus. Oh, my gosh.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
And I think I actually will give a shout-out to – there's this one content creator, a Yankees content creator. I think her name is Lala or something like that on TikTok. Sorry if I say that wrong. But she made a great video talking about the Yankees and that bad players basically shouldn't use the ABS system. Like, why are you challenging the calls and getting it wrong? Jazz Chisholm, oh, my gosh, there was a –
Down the middle.
God. Why are you challenging that, bro? Like, that is horrible. They should honestly – there should be only 3 players on the Yankees right now with the ability to challenge them. Honestly, Wells, the catcher, Judge, and Rice. That's it. That's where you cut it off right then and there. Because in my opinion, everybody else looks like if you're letting your jobbers use the ABS system and they get it wrong, if I'm Boone, you got to talk to them separately. Like, yo, I ain't gonna lie. If you're not 100% sure, do not use this thing right now.
Yeah, and the pitching
there's going to be at bats in the 7th and 8th inning where we actually might need this shit.
Yes,
and,
you're right.
Come on, there's just
you're right, and they're putting themselves in early positions to have to force themselves to use the ABS, where they should be using it, like you said, in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, using it later. If they were being aggressive in early in counts, I mean, they're taking fastballs down the middle. There was some counts where they had fastball counts, and I'm like, they should be getting a fastball here to hit. They get one down the middle, and they're not hitting it. What else are you looking for? I mean, I don't understand. But like I said, this has to change. These games are important. April and May is just as important as September and October, and I don't want to hear it. These games are the ones we're going to go back to, whether you're a Brewers fan, a Mets fan, a Yankees fan, just like me, Mike, and you are, or you're a fan of another team that is struggling right now that needs to pick it up. Like, look at the Seattle Mariners. They finally looked a little bit better this weekend, but they were 5-9 going into that series. I mean, 5-9 is underwhelming for a team that was one win away of making the World Series.
Well, they're back on their feet, thankfully now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're back on their feet. They looked a little bit better, but I'm just saying, like, bad play has been plaguing some of these good teams early on, and you have to pick it up. You can't let that go on. The Yankees need to get back on track. They have to get back on track. This was a putrid loss. This was a game that they had to win. You can't get swept by teams. Losing 2 out of 3, I understand it. It happens. But you're a good baseball team. You can't be getting swept. I'm sorry. You can't be averaging 5 hits a game over the last 5 games. It's not conducive.
It's just not ideal. And I think one thing I will say, looking at the Yankees, they got the Angels coming up. That's no slouch. They just took 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. So, like, it's not like you're going, all right, here we go. We're going to play a jobber team now. And honestly, even the jobber teams recently to start off, I think you made a great point. All the good teams have been low-key slumping, and all the jobber teams have been rising up. So if you're the Yankees, like, you got to think to yourself, we can't take the Angels, like, as a fucking joke. Like, they're going to be at it. Like, you know what I mean? So, and then after the Angels, you guys have the Royals, another team that's, there as well. So it's like, make these games count, because you have Schlittler. He did decent. I know he gave up how many? 3 earned runs, I think he gave up.
He gave 3 runs, but I mean, like, listen, you're a human being. Like, these guys can't go out.
Not perfect, bro.
No, and listen, I was talking about this with my brother. I said we can't expect the pitching to go out and go 6 and 7 innings of 1-run ball every night.
Ryan Weathers on what was it? Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday. I think
8 innings, 1 run, and he loses the game. Like, he got a loss for that. Like, that's crazy. That is insane. We made Jeffrey Springs look like Tom Glavine in his prime, 96 Atlanta Braves style. Like, we can't let that happen. Nothing against Jeffrey Springs. Good pitcher, solid lefty, has great stuff. Injury plagued the last couple of years to the point where an offense like this with the New York Yankees should be jumping on him. They should be getting after him. He shouldn't be going seven innings of no runs or 6 1/3 of no runs. You can't let that happen, because guess what? In the playoffs, when you have to go against teams that are playoff tested and are way better than guys like Jeffrey Springs, you're going to have just as much problems. So you need to fix those problems against these teams that you should be beating up on. And I don't want to hear all these teams are up and coming. They got young talent. I don't give a shit. These teams are not going to be in the playoffs. The A's aren't going to be in the playoffs, and neither are the Rays. And you're going to have to beat these teams up. You're going to have to beat them up. Like, beat them up, and then you're going to have to fight for your lives against the teams that are over 500. I say that all the time. Beat up on the bad teams and try to go 500 against the good ones, and that'll get you into the playoffs. If you're going to struggle against teams like the Rays and the A's, and maybe the Twins or the Royals, you shouldn't make the playoffs. You're not going to make the playoffs doing that. So
let me say this.
You better wake up.
Today, Drew Rasmussen for the Rays only allowed 1 hit, 6 innings of work, 7 strikeouts on the Yankees.
Come on.
That's not ideal. Like, that's not going to do it. Let's see, right? Like, for example, if you're getting Fraley and Mullins in this series to wake up, like, you're doing something wrong. Like, those 2 guys are jobbers. Like, and that's no disrespect to them, obviously, but Schlittler, even though he allowed his 7 hits, only 300 runs, the offense got to help him out. You got to help. He's still a young pitcher. You got to help him out. And then the day before, obviously, I'm just looking at the stats real quick. Nick Martinez only allowed 1 earned run for the Rays. Fried went 8 innings, only allowed 3 earned runs. You got to help him out too. Like, I know, like, shit might not be sweet, but the offense got to step up.
When your pitcher goes that long into a game and that deep and only gives up 2 or 3 runs, your offense should be able to keep up with what he gave up. I mean, he kept us in the game free.
Right. Yes.
You can't let him go and not give him any run support. I mean, what are we doing at that point? And like I said, the biggest question mark of this Yankees team, just to wrap this up, was their pitching, which has been great for the first 3 weeks. The last 2 weeks, the Yankees have not been able to hit, and you just can't let that happen. So I think the Yankees are going to have some internal discussions about what they're going to do moving forward. How long of a leash they're going to give some of these guys that aren't producing before they have to call up guys like Spencer Jones and Dominguez. Honestly, we have to have that conversation right now.
Yeah, and they do need if Grisham keeps thinking it up, you got to bring up Dominguez because or like you said, if not trade him, bro. You're giving this guy the service.
Me personally, if we're going into mid-May and Dominguez is not on this team and Grisham is hitting 145 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs, I'm asking for a trade because at that point you don't want me on your team. At that point, if you're not calling me up by mid-May and there's still a problem with Grisham and he's not turning over and he's not producing like he was last year,
right?
You obviously don't want me on your team, so trade me.
You're absolutely right, and I think just to kind of wrap it up about the Yankees real quick, like you said, I know the Rays aren't gonna be. Well, we didn't expect them to be a playoff team, and I think they will fade away, kind of like they did last year. But even when you come across these pesky teams, you have to take care of business because, like you said, if these wins come back to these losses, should I say, come back to bite you in the behind in September when you're looking up at fuck, we have to catch up to either Baltimore, Toronto if they wake up. But Toronto, I ain't gonna lie, Toronto's in big problems with injuries and shit like that.
They don't look good. They don't look good, yeah.
So you got to find a way to win these games is what I'm saying. And you can't be all well, this is where we could have took the division, but we lost that series if you remember correctly, and that's that. But talking about fucking jobber teams, and get ready for this, you guys, because this is going to be a fucking long-ass rant by me. But the Washington Nationals sweep the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee for the first time since 2011. Not in Milwaukee, just in general, since 2011. This has to be one of the most pathetic fucking series I've seen in my fucking life as a Brewers fan. Because let me tell you guys this straight up. Why and I love Pat Murphy. Before I do get into ranting about his poor decision making as a manager this weekend, I will say I have a lot of love for him, and he's still a good manager in my eyes, back-to-back NL Manager of the Year. But simply put, some of his bullpen decision management in this game, you are working Aaron Ashby until his fucking arm is gonna blow off its socket, and there's no other way you could put it. You have him opening, you have him today coming in. I don't even know why Woodruff only went 6 innings. He only allowed 2 earned runs. He threw 70 pitches, just 70 pitches, and he gets pulled in the 6th inning when we're out here trying to make sure we come back. And when Gary Sanchez does hit the 3-run shot, oh, it's okay. We're going to take out Zerpa, maybe bring in McGill, Grant Anderson. Who knows? Nope, we keep Zerpa in there, and he jobs effortlessly, and we lose today's game. And James Wood this series, credit to James Wood, and credit to him to start off the year. He's looked honestly phenomenal, and we know the type of player he is. But if you're allowing guys like Jacob Young, Dylan Lyle, Keibert Ruiz to turn on the Jets, your pitching is absolutely failing you. And Kyle Harrison did what he had to do. Now mad at him. But on Friday, who was it? I think it was on Friday. I honestly just had a brain fart right here. Who did we have pitching on Friday? Let me see. Oh my gosh. On Friday, we had Aaron Ashby opening it, and then we had Chad Patrick only going 3 innings. We don't need an opener, bro. It's fucking against the Nationals, and we're using an opener. I know this is Murphy Brewers baseball right here, but y'all got to cut this shit out. This got to be a wake-up call. But guess what? It's not even the fact that we just lost this series that it's horrible. Christian Yelich leaves the game today with left hamstring tightness. And it's horrible because Murphy already said that it's not looking good. He's going on the IL. You have the #1 farm system in baseball. When the fuck are you going to start using it? Because these guys are in AAA waiting to come up. I'm talking about Luis Lara, Cooper Pratt, Jet Williams. You got Jet Williams, and he's out there. I mean, he's been struggling a little bit, but in spring training, he was very, very solid before he hurt his quad, or his hamstring, I think it was, but he's looked a little bit iffy. I'm just very confused. by the pitching decisions right here. Why Woodruff only pitched 70 pitches today, and why you pull him? And even this, the bullpen, Trevor McGill, oh my gosh, if you were to see the way he jobbed the game on Friday night, you would laugh. If you get a chance to check that out, anybody watching this, just watch it. Some of the worst, do they not practice that shit in spring training? Fielding the ball to your catcher if the guy running from third to home is going, do they not practice that shit? Not to mention, if I see another follow these 4 guys, Luis Rengifo, Brandon Lockridge, Blake Perkins, and David Hamilton, if I see another one of their at-bats, you know what? It's for family-friendly purposes. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. But that has to be some of the most future I've had. They're looking at balls straight up down the cock, and they're not swinging at them. They're looking, oh, that's a strike. We're already on an 0-1 count. Might as well hit a little bit of a grounder. No, do something. They look like they just laid. Oh, my gosh. I talk bad about the Cardinals, but I look like the Cardinals these past few games, they've looked like they had some type of life. The Pirates look like they have some type of life. And like JV said, a series like this is when you look back in September, you're like, fuck, we shouldn't have gotten swept by the Nationals at home.
Yeah.
Now the Pirates or the Reds or the Cubs won the division, any one of those teams, because we jobbed so bad. And now with Yelich going on the IL, Churrio's on the IL, Vaughn's on the IL. It looks like, I don't know if Brandon Sproul had a knee injury is what I was hearing, because he landed a little bit awkwardly trying to cover third, should I say. Kyle Harrison looks like he's going to be good, but man, so many injuries and such bad baseball. They had more errors than hits on Saturday's game. But man, what a frustrating series to be a Brewers fan.
Yeah, this whole weekend has been, in the last 4 days, has been a brutal weekend. And like I said, stemming from like Thursday up until today, Sunday evening, it has not been good. I mean, the Yankees look like a shell of themselves. And we just talked about the Brewers and what they did. The Brewers to me is a little more concerning because now that the injuries are piling up, and what are they doing with this bullpen? Like you said, are they just trying to kill Aaron Ashby? Like what's going on? He's been utilized so many times in the past week. It's unbelievable. Spot starting, then they're using him in the pen, then they're using him as an opener. Me personally, I think the Brewers are going to have to maybe look at acquiring a starter via the trade deadline, or maybe even before that if something comes available. You can't keep going that way and expecting to win the division. And look at how bad the Cubs have been playing. The Cubs have not been playing really good baseball. The Reds have been Pittsburgh is they're making some noise. But right now is the month where if you're the Milwaukee Brewers, you want to be able to keep up with that, and hopefully these guys kind of take a step back and you guys take a step forward. But like I said, if you're going to start experiencing injuries on top of bad baseball, that's two hurdles that you have to overcome, and that's tough. And that's going to put more pressure on you in the later months like May, June, July, in order for you to kind of get that separation of the division. And it's the same thing for the New York Yankees. If the New York Yankees start experiencing injuries and they're playing like dog shit, that's going to hurt them trying to win this division too, especially with the way certain teams have been playing. For example, the Red Sox haven't looked good. The Blue Jays haven't looked good. Tampa all of a sudden now looks good because they had a great weekend. But, in terms of the Yankees and the Brewers, they really have to start waking up and understand that April is just as important as September. And, you're going to have to figure something out because you could be standing behind the 8 ball sooner rather than later. And that's not something that both organizations want to do right now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and just with the notion, like we said earlier, oh, this is April, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if it doesn't matter, like fucking JV said, the Yankees literally lost the division last year because of a tiebreaker. If they would have won some games through that June stretch where they were a little bit inconsistent, very inconsistent, they obviously could have won the division very simply because they were the best offense in baseball. Their pitching was there. It's just, these are games where you think about, and I was all like, man, that's just one we shouldn't have dropped. And look at the game. They were leading on Friday, and they had moments today where it was 6-6 and they jobbed Serpa. I don't know what Murphy, you got to pull him at some point. And that's my problem. The City Connects that we had today, we were 0-3 for them this weekend. Geez, just retire the jersey at that point. That is such a bad luck.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. It's bad luck. Just go to the plain grays. I don't care, bro, because I will give don't get it twisted. I will give credit to the Nationals hitting. James Wood, Abrams is awake, which is good to see for them. And they're no slouch. They've won pretty good series this year. I think they beat the Phillies in that series and the Cubs to start off the year. So it's not like they're being slouches and we just got caught. It's just the Brewers got to know 3 runs not going to do it, but 6 runs couldn't do it today because I don't know. Murphy just got to realize you got to trust Woodruff. 70 pitches and you pull him and we made this claim a long time ago. So if you're an OG listener, you know this. What happened to the days in baseball where with 70 pitches thrown, you stay in the game? That shit, back in the old days, bro, I don't give a fuck if you're going through an injury or whatever it is. They don't care. If you're at 70 pitches and through 6 innings, you might have a complete game with you. But times have changed so bad, so much. And I say it's a bad thing. People want to say it's about health purposes. Well, with health purposes, I guess your team's not going to win if you do pull your starter. with 70 pitches, only 70 pitches. You know what I mean?
And I'm guessing the Brewers did that only because they're trying to get him ramped up, I guess, and they're trying to.
He threw 94 pitches his last outing. How about that, though?
I was literally about to say he threw almost 100. You took it right out of my mouth, bro, because I had just Googled a couple of, I have Brandon Woodruff, my fantasy team.
Right.
So I was looking at his last 3 starts, and I had just seen that he threw 94 pitches in his last start. Where is the line drawn where you want to take out a guy? Like what is the key factor? Does he look tired? Is his stuff not as sharp? Like, are the breaking pitches not as sharp? I would love to hear what Pat Murphy had said. I'm not sure if he did say anything or why he was pulled. If anybody asked him, I didn't see that. But I would love to ask Pat Murphy, hey, at 70 pitches, 6 innings, and 1 run, what was the key ingredient to taking him out? What made him give you an idea like, hey, right now he doesn't look good. He doesn't look like he could pitch to 7. That to me is confusing. And I would ask the same thing to Aaron Boone. If Aaron Boone did that, and he's done that plenty of times where he's taking a pitcher out in the 6th and they're at 73, 74 pitches, they can go at least another 20 to 25 pitches. And I'm just sitting there like, why was this guy not utilized for one more inning? So I totally get where you come from, and where, like I said, where is that line in the sand drawn when you have a guy that just threw 94 pitches a week prior? You take him out at 70 through 6 when he probably could have went another 50 to 20 pitches and gave you 7 innings. What is the big deal there? I'm not too sure about what their mind process was and their mind game and their strategy. So that was something I'd like to ask Pat Murphy if I was in the media and say, hey, he threw 94 pitches last week. What was the big deal of taking him out again and not letting him go when he only gave up 1 run? We have to have a little bit more confidence in our starting pitches. And like you said, bro, there used to be a day where starting pitches would go 7 and would have worse outings. Now there's pitches that go 6 innings, no runs, 4 or 5 hits, 5, 6 strikeouts, and they're getting pulled, literally. And I think that has to do with analytics. I really do. I don't want to be that guy, but I really do think some managers open the book and they say, you know what? The 3rd and 4th time through the lineup, you guys aren't as sharp, and we're going to go to the pen. And sometimes you got to trust your gut rather than a textbook. And I just feel a lot of managers get themselves in the hot seat because of it.
And that's the reason, too. Like, we could be honest. Like, I know Murphy, his job is pretty much secure with the extension he had, but Boone more so. Like, bro, you're going to lose your job if you, like, let's say the Yankees do crash out early, or even, God forbid, for you, like, if they don't make the playoffs, bro's probably going to lose his job within the snap of a finger, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Because it's unacceptable, like, having stretches like this. And I don't think it's going to last long for neither one of our teams. Well, I feel more confident about yours because yours is more healthy. But I will think, like, it's always, like, next man up mentality for the Brewers. So I'm not that, like, crazy mad. I know Yelich and the injury, they said that there's already fluid around the hamstring area. Not good. It looks like, if you ask me, it's going to be probably like a 2 to 4 week thing. Like, I think he's going to be that much, like, missed. Sal Frelick, another guy that I'll say, like, he's been jobbing, bro. He's been batting 188. You're a guy that's supposed to bat like 280, 290, like, be a contact hitter, and you've been doing the exact opposite, striking out. You look like you have no confidence. Bryce Terang is literally getting the backpack and trying to carry this whole fucking offensive load, and he's probably looking at guys like Blake Perkins and Brandon Lockers like, dude, why are you guys up here? Like, you guys don't belong in the big leagues. Probably not. He's a good guy. That's more so coming from my end. But it's like, why are they up here? We have more talented guys in the minor league system that can do their job and actually make it worth it for Brewers fans to go out there and see. Like, I know a lot of Brewers fans, and I've seen it in, like, IDX saying, like, yo, we're getting tired of having these guys that play, yes, good defense, but how good of defense? Because they only had 1 error through the first 6 games. Now they have the most errors this whole week in all of baseball. So they're not playing that good of defense. Perkins isn't. Lockridge isn't. Mitch has been playing good offensively, but defense, he looks like he's so fucking slow to get the ball sometimes. And so many errors that are just, like, today the Nationals hit the double steal on the Brewers and they actually stole home. Wood did. It's like, that's shit that you just can't allow to happen, bro. Like, you got to be smart.
No, you're right.
They're not being smart. Right. And that's the frustrating part.
I tell this to everybody, like, oh, Ryan McMahon, his defense is so good. Okay, but we know that if he plays a full game, he's going to get up 4 times in that game. He'll have 4 at-bats. Sometimes the ball doesn't get hit to him 4 times. For him to make any type of defensive contribution, we know that you're going to get up to the plate 4 times. If you can't at least go 1 for 4, you're useless. You can't have 4 or 5 games in a row where you go 0 for 20. You know, until you get your first hit. Like, it's just not good. And I keep telling people, yes, I understand the defensive run saved is a huge thing. I get that. But if you're not hitting, you're almost it's evening out. You're a 0 on the offensive side, but you're a +1 on the defensive side. At some point, you have to even out. And like I said, we know for a fact that you're going to get up 4 times in the game. We don't know if the ball's going to get hit to you even once. So we need to know that you're going to contribute offensively before you contribute defensively, because that we know you're going to have a chance to do. We don't know how many times the ball's going to hit to you, but yes, he's a vacuum at third. I'll say that. But like you said, like a guy like Sal Frelick, we can't have guys hitting 170 because now you're just putting more pressure on yourself in the upcoming months to have to build up that average, get on base, get out of that rut, and hopefully your pitching can hold up, because right now that's the same boat the Yankees are in. They're not hitting, but their pitching has been doing good enough. And 0-6 in one-run games, and we're not even out of April yet, is unacceptable. And this is going to be something that we talk about in September. I guarantee you, if the Yankees are 2 games out in September with 3 weeks to go, we're going to be saying the Yankees could be 4 games up if they didn't shit the bed against Tampa. So hopefully this month they can finish off strong, just like your bros.
Yeah, I think for us, we have Toronto next. They're coming in town. Like, you gotta, like, they're already weakened. Like, you gotta put the fucking pedal to the metal against those guys. Their pitching has been crap, other than Cease and actual Gosman. Like, they're 2, which you will face. You got to get to them early. You got to find a way to get to them. If not, it's just not going to do it. Like, at some point, their offense will fully wake up again. And don't let it be against you guys. If not, you guys are going to put yourself in a bad situation. And there's just no team in the MLB I consider a step over right now. Like, oh, step over them, that's an easy 2 out of 3. You got to make that shit happen with pitching and offense and defense combined. Make it work. If not, it's just not going to happen. And that's just the truth for both of our teams. Wake the fuck up now, because if not, if you continue these bad stretches of baseball, don't think it's not going to matter when you're literally either 1 game behind in the wild card or 2 games behind in the division trying to win a division title, because it will matter, especially for the Brewers. The Reds have gotten better. They'll have Hunter Green and Lodolo back eventually. The Pirates obviously made improvements. The Cubs will have Boyd back. Sucks to see what happened to Horton. He's done for the year. But they're going to make adjustments as well. A lot of even the Cardinals, as much as I crapped on them in the like preseason and everything like that, they've looked like they've been a tough out. So get into divisional play and lock the fuck in as well. Churio will be back in, I think, a week or so. That's good. Vaughn will be back as soon as everything is healing. Everything is good with him. Surgery went well. Those are going to be, I think those 2 will probably be back before Yelich with the way that he's and that's such tough shit, because Yelich already has a back injury. Like, it sucks because he's such a good guy, and I'm not trying to glaze him and, like, obviously, like, fucking say this and that, but he's the pillar of the franchise, and I wish him a speedy recovery. It just sucks. It sucks, and I think in the long run, yes, our teams will be good, but are we overreacting? No, because we know how this could be impactful because of our divisions more so, especially yours, to be honest.
100%. And just to go off a little off topic, you know, with 2 other teams that I think is really concerning, I think the Cubs and the Mets. I think that's really
honestly
concerning.
Perfect. You're going to get straight into it. Hold up real quick.
I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
If you want to get into it, honestly, JJ, I'll let you take over since you're in New York as well.
Yeah, so listen, I'm not trying to shit on the Mets. I'm not this Yankee fan that shits on the Mets. The Mets have had their own problems since 1986, right? If you want to get into that, we can get into that in another episode. But I'll tell you this right now. I personally – I loved the way they did construct the team at first. I thought that they really made a revamp. And then as the weeks went on and they lost Pete Alonso, for some reason that rubbed me the wrong way. I thought, listen, at some point I did think they were going to get away from Alonso, and a lot of it made sense, right? But they don't have that pop anymore. And now they want to talk about the defensive run saved. Yeah, but you got Polanco and Beatty, and you got Bichette out of position playing third. Now they're not hitting. I mean, they're also that their pitching doesn't look great. The Mets are in trouble, folks. Juan Soto's injured. What's going to happen if Juan Soto comes back and the Mets are 6 or 7 games under 500? That's not going to be a good look. If you would have told me that 2 teams would have been in last place 16 games in, and that would have been the Cubs and the Mets, I would have said you're crazy. I would have said you're absolutely crazy. And if one of those teams that were at 500 was Washington and Atlanta, I would have said no. I don't think so. But guess what? That's the position we're in right now when you talk about the New York Mets. The New York Mets do not look like a strong enough team. Their whole mantra was defensive run saved. They don't have the proper personnel out there to do that right now. And right now, their offense doesn't look as good. Francisco Lindor is almost giving me Terrell Owens vibes right now. Is this guy a cancer in the locker room? I don't know. I didn't think that he was ever that guy, but I will say this. If the rumors are true that his wife and Brandon Nimmo's wife didn't get along, and that's why Brandon Nimmo got traded, the Mets are pathetic. That's pathetic. You have wives not getting along, so that's why players are getting traded. Like, what are we talking about here?
Look what Nimmo's doing in Texas right now.
Like, I don't care. I know. That's another thing. Who cares about the wives and how they're interacting with each other? We're trying to win baseball games. Like, I wouldn't even know how to deal with that if I was Steve Cohen and David Stearns. Wives aren't getting along. Well, guess what? They don't get dressed to go play every day, so I don't give a shit if they don't get along. They're gonna have to figure it out. And Francisco Lindor's wife is getting way too involved with certain things that she shouldn't have to get involved with. Supposedly, she doesn't like the fact that there's some players that don't agree with her politics. Like, what do you care? Like, they're not there for. They're there to win baseball games and win a World Series. No one should care about what you are politically or what your viewpoints are politically. This is a baseball team. If you guys want to debate about politics, go travel the country and debate politics. You guys are supposed to be winning baseball games. I think she needs to take a back seat. And I think maybe Francisco Lindor is literally a cancer. Juan Soto's locker was right next to his last year. And guess what? This year, it was across the hall, from what I'm hearing. Completely isolated away from Lindor. Why did that happen? That's telling to me. And if he was a Yankee and that happened to him as a Yankee, I would think that's concerning. So for Met fans to say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, that's a big deal. Okay? Because the so-called captain of your team, it seems to be that there's not a lot of people that consider him a captain in that organization. So, and your $55 million player doesn't want to be next to the quote-unquote captain. That's a fucking problem, man. I don't want to sugarcoat it. That's a fucking problem.
And it's kind of poetic. The guy that didn't get along with Lindor, Jeff McNeil, goes 6 for 11 this weekend in his return to Citi Field. Kind of the big to you. Like, it's like
exactly.
It's like, and it's like, for me, looking at it, allegedly with everything, Lindor's wife and everything like that. That's one thing, right? Put that to the side for one quick second. And I'm going to take the Band-Aid off. There's no reason to not say it because everybody knows it's fucking true. And sorry to Mike, but I think he knows it's true at the end of the day. Lindor and Soto don't fucking like each other. At some point, you have to fucking realize they don't fucking like each other. There's two different vibes with them. Lindor gives, and I don't know if you've seen the video, JV. I'm pretty sure you have, when they were introducing each other, like opening day. Everybody's getting daps up. Everybody, Soto hugging everybody. Lindor,
just a tap, yeah. Like it just doesn't, yeah.
They don't fucking like each other.
Are you really going to have a guy like, is Lindor going to get traded? Is that something we have to talk about? Because guess what? He's got an opt-out, Soto. And everybody's like, oh, no, he's going to opt in because he'll opt out. He'll get the more money. And that's true. But you think he's going to want to play with a guy that he doesn't like for the next 7 years? I don't think so. I just don't see that happening. And not for nothing, in his tenure, the Mets have made the playoffs twice. In the last 6 years, they've made the playoffs twice. So what are we really talking about? He doesn't make you win. They're not winning with him, and he's causing problems in the locker room now. I don't know, man. I like I said, I wish Mike was here to hear this and get his viewpoints on it. But when your wife is getting involved and people are getting traded because the wives aren't, that is not good for the clubhouse and the aura in the clubhouse and the vibe and the personalities clashing. They shouldn't even be involved. Like, what are we talking about?
Like,
it's crazy to me.
This is not an issue that, like, for example, if the Dodgers had this type of issue, they are back-to-back World Series champions. Like, okay, we kind of like, sometimes I wouldn't say like egos get in the, or like certain like headlines get in the way to like break narratives or break teams up and everything like that. Happens sometimes. Like, I'll give you a good example, like the Warriors with KD and Draymond, something like that.
True.
Like the Mets haven't won a World Series since '86. They should not. Like, if there's a team, and I can't say shit because my team hasn't won a World Series in general, but I'm giving you looking at it from an outside point of view. They should not be having this type of locker room chaos, hecticness.
No.
Because it's not going to lead to nothing but another season down the fucking drain, if we could be 100% honest.
And we're going to have to start talking about the fact that Steve Cohen has taken over this team for the last 7 years, and they've only made the playoffs twice. We have to start talking about it. We're going to have to put our finger on, does he really know how to construct a baseball team the proper way? He's thrown money hand over fist, and it just hasn't worked. I mean, the fact that the Mets haven't been in the playoffs every year since he's taken over, to me, is putrid. Maybe the first 2 years, I'll give them a pass because they had to fix the team and they had to get their money right and figure out what they were going to do with their farm system and whatever the case may be. So I kind of get that. But the fact they've been non-competitive for the most part of his tenure is not good. And then to have these clubhouse problems is not the best. Is not the best to have right now. So I think they're going to have to make a lot of big time decisions. I really do. Is Frankie Lindor a guy that you really wanted to helm? That you didn't even make the captain. Everybody says he's the captain, this, that, and you haven't made him the captain officially. That rings bells to me. If he was if he was the captain and you wanted someone to run your team and get these young guys, well grounded and these other veterans to buy in, then how come he's not the captain? It's because I don't think a lot of people like him, bro.
They don't.
I don't. I agree with you. And like you said, the body language of Juan Soto opening day,
he doesn't like him, bro.
It kind of just approved it. It kind of approved everything that we talked about.
Like, here's the thing, and I will give you a quote Mendoza said about Lindor's mental lapses so far this season, because I don't know if you guys have been watching Mets games, or obviously Mets fans have, but if you're not a Mets fan and haven't been watching Mets games, some of these mental lapses that Lindor has had so far this season defensively has been so mind-boggling. You look at him, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like,
it almost looked like he blacked out. It's like he's blacking out.
Mendoza said it's weird because that's not him. It's hard to explain. And we see Mets on X right now saying, I'm getting so tired of Lindor. He's just killing it with this lazy fucking defense. And they're talking about this double play that he just didn't turn, because if you see how late he got to second base, it's like,
he stepped on second thinking there was 2 outs. That's my only thing. He must have thought there was 2 outs, obviously. Because you got to know the situation there. Like I said, if you're the captain of the team, you can't have these lapses, especially when your team is playing like absolute shit. You can't. They're in last place right now. This is a team with $360+ million payroll, and they're 7-9. That's crazy, bro.
And you want to like, the honest truth is, like, and Mike's probably going to know this is true as well. Like, if the Nats are better than what we expect them to be, if the Marlins are still that pesky team, if the Braves are fucking back, your chances of winning the division has gone from 75% to maybe even 40%. Like, if you want to be,
you're 100% right.
Because, like, Philly is going to wake up fully eventually. That's the truth. I think Wheeler needs, I think I saw one more rehab assignment that's he's back, because Taijuan Walker is going to go. He's probably going to be playing with the Diablos and Justin Turner in Mexico and
100%.
In reality, if the Braves are back, the Mets are cooked. Then there's no other way to put it.
Cooked. And there's other good teams in the National League where it's gonna be harder to win a wild card than it is to win the division.
Yes. Like, the Pirates are for real. I think we know that. Like, I think the Pirates are going to be for real. And I said that before
the Padres, the Diamondbacks, the Brewers.
Padres on a 5-game winning streak, the Padres. The D-backs from 2 out of 3. Like, come on, bro. We got to call a spade a spade. And that's not me saying I don't believe that the Mets could turn around. I could absolutely, like, Freddie pitched very good today, but guess what? They had no earned runs off of Aaron Savali. They got shut out twice in this series against the A's. Not once, but twice. That's unacceptable.
Not good. Not good.
So, talking about the Mets and just wrapping it up, and I know Mike, he's going to have his thoughts on it. If you want him to do a short or anything, let us know. He could probably do that in the comments. I mean, not in the comments, and like YouTube Shorts or TikTok. But look, man, I think when you look at which team, either the Yankees or Mets, I'm more worried about, it's the Mets, and it's not even close, because there's no friction in the Yankees locker room, like how I do believe there's friction in the Mets locker room, obviously, allegedly, but come on. It doesn't take a fucking genius to know what's like.
No, and listen, and you're 1,000% right. And the bigger problem for me when it comes to the Mets is that their number 1 star, or their 1A star, is the culprit of the problems. If there was other problems that were caused by other players, then you'd say, all right, these are guys that may not be long-term guys that are going to be on the team, and they're just passing through. But these are guys that are literally going to be here for the long haul. Francisco Lindor signed a 12-year deal a few years ago, and he's a guy that they're not looking to trade. But if he's going to be a cancer in the clubhouse and he's not conducive to winning, which they haven't won with him, they haven't won. What did they win? 3 or 4 playoff games in 6 years? I mean, what are we actually talking about? 2024 was their most successful year. 2015, he wasn't even there. So, I mean, like, he wasn't even there for the World Series run that they had. So, I'm not really too sure what's going to go on with this team, but they got to really figure something out, because if Juan Soto is going to come back to a team that's 7 or 8 games in the 500, they are in a lot. All right.
Yeah, Jerry Blevins, I think he's SNY post-game reporter. He said if he were Lindor's teammate, he would ask him if he's doing okay or if he is doing okay because his mental lapses have been so far this uncharacteristic. And he's right. Like, what's going on here? Like, at some point, it's like
but you know what? If it's a teammate that has to reach out, then shame on the manager. Shame on Mendoza. Mendoza should be the one to say, "Hey, you don't look right, and I need you to get right because we're not going anywhere if you don't play well." Forget Juan Soto. If you're not with Juan Soto and you're not playing well the way you need to play, this team is cooked.
Yeah, it is. Bad. Because you don't have the pop of Pete. You see, and then I bet I can only imagine Marcus Semien is thinking up the joint. Whatever. He's there for defense. Look at what Brandon Nimmo's doing in Texas right now. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh, wow. And allegedly, there was an issue. I don't know how true this is, but Nimmo, they felt like Nimmo would have felt some type of way if Lindor was named captain while Nimmo was still on the team because Nimmo was the longest tenured Met. And he felt like you traded Nimmo away for, yes, a revamp defensively, run prevention. But it doesn't matter because guess what? Texas has actually been succeeding with Nimmo's production being like at the helm of that offensively. Yeah. And defensively, he hasn't looked bad. So that's what I will say.
And then you go out and get Semien to shore up the infield, and then you go put a guy like Bo Bichette at third base that's never played third base before for $42 million, and then you go out and you get Jorge Polanco, you throw him at first, and he had one inning at first base. So you have, like I said, you have $65 million allocated to two positions this year in salary that have never played there before. So I'm trying to figure out what David Stearns is doing. Are you trying to save runs, or are you just trying to get guys with sort of some pop back into that lineup to make up for losing Pete, and you're just throwing them at positions, hopefully, and praying that it works out? I don't know, man. This could be a recipe for disaster early on for this New York Mets ball club, and honestly, for that fan base, I really hope not, because it's not good for baseball when that happens.
Yeah, especially because it's always good when both teams in New York are succeeding, and it's just looking like, and it sucks. Yeah, they both lost 5 straight. They're both, I wouldn't say in similar, but actually they have no more Soto for I think 2 more weeks, two and a half weeks. It's like you have the Dodgers next, by the way, and they have the Dodgers next, and you can't just go and not wake up against them. Like, you have to do something. Freddie's not pitching in that series. I don't know. They have Peterson, whose job pitching in that series. Peterson's look like shit. And
Senga had a bad start against the A's. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with him either. I mean, he by the 4th inning, the game was kind of decided. It was 7-1 at one point. I know they made a comeback, but when a guy like that is expected to be, a stopgap at the top of that rotation and really set the top of that rotation up. Now he's at the bottom of that rotation, I believe. I believe he was the 4th or 5th starter, if I'm not mistaken. And he's just sticking it up, and he's just making more pressure for the top of that rotation to have to come out and pick up the slack. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him as well. And like I said, out of these 3 teams right now, out of our favorite teams, me, you, and Mike's, obviously, I do think the Mets are in the most trouble right now.
Yeah, I would agree so as well, just because, I mean, the Brewers kind of have the pedigree when they step into that next man up mentality. Normally they buy at least 2 out of 3 from a series. They start picking off the wins little by little, little by little. Same thing with the Yankees. They find a way little by little, little by little. But I feel like sometimes when the Mets struggle, they struggle. They find a way to.
It goes like a 6-7 week period of just bad baseball, and they put themselves into the cellar. And like I said, with this NL, the way it's shaped up, you're gonna have to deal with the Padres. You're gonna have to deal with the likes of the Cubs, and obviously the Brewers, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh are good now. It's going to be tough for them. And in their own division now, Phillies, the Marlins, if the Braves, like you said, play this type of brand of baseball and they can stay somewhat healthy, what's going to happen with that? I mean, a guy like me picked the Braves to win 80 games this year. I know you called me crazy, and that's perfectly fine. But if they're going to stay healthy, they should win 85 plus. And that's going to be a problem for the New York Mets. And that's why I think right now, if the Mets don't find a way, they are the team that's going to be in the most trouble moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like last year they got by through it and still missed the playoffs. They did beat up on the Nats. The Marlins caught them every now and then, but the Braves weren't healthy like they are. And they're still not relatively big time healthy. But as long as they have Sale Lopez out there, he's going to make his next start on Tuesday. The offense has been the Braves' offense that we'd expect. If the Braves' offense stays healthy, guess what? they're going to be a very good fucking offense. And that's what it's been recently. They're winning right now 3-0 because Sale's pitching good. Like realistically speaking, bro, if we could be 100% honest with each other, and I'll say this like straightforward too. I don't know if me personally, something's going to give between the Mets. What is it going to be? Is it going to be Lindor getting traded? Is it going to be somebody stepping in between Lindor and Soto like, yo, we need this shit to get collectively going?
Yeah.
And also like how, and I'm not saying it's going to affect his batting, but who knows? How will Soto look when he does come back from injury, like fully out on the field and shit like that?
Right.
Because the calf is nothing to mess around with.
No, absolutely not. We know that those calf injuries lead to Achilles problems. We've all seen that with Kevin Durant. I know it's a totally different sport, but guess what? When you're using your legs as a base of your being, let's say, that's tough. And like I said, if he comes back in 2.5 weeks and the Mets are 5 or 6 games on the 500, that's a hole you don't want to be in early in the year with your top player coming back now, trying to find his groove, and your team is struggling. It's not conducive to winning baseball, and it's going to be really tough to have to get on that stride and try to turn things around. So that's why I think right now, just barring injury and the way that they've been playing collectively, I think the Mets are definitely not the best looking team right now when it comes to all three.
Well, Simeon's batting 190. Polanco's batting 184. Like they're gonna need the production of these guys. I don't think Robert was in the lineup today, is what I'm looking at. No, he was not.
And he's been one of the better ones, to be honest with you.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
And everybody said, "Oh no, what's gonna happen with him if he struggles?" Well, guess what? He hasn't been struggling, and everybody else around him is, and that's why the Mets are 7-9.
He's hitting 319 right now, Robert. He's been fucking stellar for them. And let me see what Lindor is hitting right now, actually, just to get that into 188. I mean, wake up, kid. Wake up. You got to wake up. These mental lapses defensively and offensively. If you don't get the bat going, you're obviously, you know how New York media is as well. They're going to start ripping this kid bad, bro.
100%. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, which will be that'll be such a blemish on that organization, I'll tell you that right now. They're going to have to. Someone has to get traded. Someone has to get traded
or fired.
Mendoza's definitely fired. If they don't make the playoffs, he's fired.
Yo, this team is like, if it keeps playing the way that it's playing right now, they're maybe 2 weeks away from seeing the end of Frank the Tank. Maybe like this poor
crashing out. Yeah, 100%. And let me tell you something else. Mendoza doesn't look like a guy that can handle the room. I don't think he can control that room. I think he hopes that the players work it out, and that's his MO. I don't think that's a great way to deal with things sometimes. I think as a manager, you kind of gotta put your foot down a little bit and let them know, like, hey, I'm running this team and we're going to have to get things going. I don't think he's like that. I think he makes the players handle those internal problems a little bit too much. I think he needs to get involved a little bit more. And not for nothing, honestly, I think the first big firing would come down on Mendoza if that ever were to happen. And then I think if Lindor does get traded, it would be in the offseason. I don't think that's something that they'll do, obviously, in the middle of the season. Not in the regular season.
Yeah, you're right.
No, so those are two things to look out for, obviously.
I'll throw you like this kind of question as well, because thinking about Stearns and the way that he's built this team, at one point do you point at him like, yo, we gave you a chance and you're building it and nothing's happening, so when do you get canned? You know what I mean?
Everybody was saying, yeah, let Stearns cook, and I'm like, yeah, he's cooking, but what's he cooking with? Because that pot roast was supposed to be done 2 hours ago, and now it's in the oven burnt. So
he's thinking of
it's like, I don't like I said, it's 16 games in. I'm not trying to knock the guy, but honestly, right now, the way this team is constructed, they do not look good, and it's a little concerning.
And you look at like the former Mets, like DeGrom and Nimmo over there succeeding in Texas. You're like, wow,
it's crazy. It's just wild to me. It's wild. And Texas won a World Series without DeGrom. He got hurt, and they won without him. So that's
right.
It just goes to show you the luck of some teams.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, that's a great way to put it. And how about and you want to know another thing that was like weird, and I think we talked about it privately as well, but how about the Soto comments, like when he was asking the WBC, like about like the fun teams you played with or the most fun teams you played with? It's like at some point you're doing it to yourself, bro. You might just want to, He
does. You know what? And he does that. He does that where he puts himself in these situations where, yes, he may get asked a question that kind of like it requires a certain answer, but sometimes you just got to go with the answer that doesn't cause the most controversy. And I know Mike says all the time, no, I'd rather the honesty. Yeah, I get it. You want the guy to be honest, but you know what? Sometimes you got to fib a little bit.
Yeah.
Just answer the question more generally. Just say, yeah, I played with a lot of great teams. I have no problem with him saying that the 2021 Nationals were a great team to play for. He won a World Series with that team. I'm not going to expect him to not say that. 2019. But then to say the 2024 Yankees was a great team that, it's like you were on that team. You chose to go to the Mets in free agency. Why are you saying things like that? The best player you ever played with was Aaron Judge. Just stop. Just stop it. You're not there anymore. To me, you shouldn't have to rehash on a team that you played with for a year. It's literally you played with us for 1 year. I don't know. To me, it's just weird how he kind of leaves himself open-ended with these types of interview questions. And I don't know.
We'll see. Honestly, you know what? 9 times out of 10, we're like, if we see, and we'll make a video about it if it does happen, but if we see another situation where a similar scenario arises with Soto or even Lindor or an interview or anything like that, I wouldn't even be surprised at this point, bro.
Yeah, no, at this point, like I said, it's like the second or third time he's done this, and he's made some questionable comments, and I really don't care. He's not on my team anymore. I don't care.
He had his chance. He had his chance.
He made his bed. He decided to go to the Mets, and that's fine. He knew he was going to get the bag from somebody, so I don't think it was money. I don't think it was a money-driven thing. And he went with the Mets, and good luck. Good luck to you, man. Good luck.
Good luck. Real quick before we do obviously wrap it up, anything you want to kind of just other teams or anything in general? I know there's one, like the Astros didn't win a game this week. They got swept by the Rockies and they got swept by the Mariners, and Hunter Brown's on the IL.
If we're going to say jobber of the weekend, I know we were doing that segment like we were doing jobber of the day for players, but if we want to go full squads, it's got to be the Astros. I mean,
yes.
You get swept by the Colorado Rockies. You already set yourself up for jobber of the weekend with that. Then you come back and you figure, all right, let's wake the hell up. We got to play Seattle, a division opponent that was literally a game away from going to the World Series and won our division. Let's show them who's boss, and you get completely mollywopped this weekend. I mean, you gotta figure out how to win a game there. I mean, the Astros do not look good right now. Their offense is anemic. I know Pena is now on the IL for a little bit. I think he's day to day.
And then he might travel to Houston with a tired arm. No, how
tired
about
arm? I mean, two starts. He's gonna a tired arm after 3 starts. Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
yo, they gotta fire those trainers, bro. I mean, everybody's going on the IL over there. Hunter Brown, Christian Javier,
crazy, man.
Jake Myers.
Crazy.
Like, yo,
they gotta figure it out though. Next guy up.
If not, guess what? If we're talking about if they don't make the playoffs this year again,
Joe Espada's gone. I think he's good. He's good as gone. You gotta figure it out because last year he could have got fired, but he did a great job with the amount of injuries they had. I think they were top 5 when it came to the amount of injuries they had, and he was able to have that team vying for a wild card spot and even a division spot up until the last week of the season. But if he's going to have runs like this, where they're getting swept by teams that they got to beat, and they don't make the playoffs again this year, he may be seeing an exit sooner rather than later.
I apologize. They didn't actually get swept. They have one more game on Monday with the Astros, but they lost 3 or 4.
Okay, so at that point, the season's already a wash.
Let me give you a spoiler alert right here. They're most likely getting swept.
Even if they win, losing 3 out of 4 is not acceptable. You can't lose 3 out of 4 to a division opponent that early on. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Hopefully they can win and just salvage a game. But if they get swept, it's even worse now. 4 games is terrible. So
let me throw some a funny moment at you that happened this weekend. Ichiro's fucking statue reveal.
I know the bat broke. The bat broke, and he said He didn't know Mariano Rivera was coming to jam him and break his bat. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I mean,
the guy was like a top 3 player in your organization. You could do a little bit better. Try to figure out, hey, is this thing sturdy enough? Let's make sure everything is good. Cross your T's, dot your I's. And the tarp broke a piece of steel. Like, what do we like? Isn't that metal? Like, what is that thing made out of?
Come on, bro.
Like, I don't know, man. The quality of the things that are being made in this country have been going to shit lately.
Let me give you
I don't know what's going on.
I guess I could give you player of the week, I guess, in a way. Mason Miller. He's striking out everybody he's faced but one person. He grounded out.
That's insane.
He like at what point, like it's probably hard, obviously, at this point in time and age, but when does a reliever get into the Cy Young conversation ever again? Like,
listen, if he could get like 70 plus innings, I think it's more of an innings thing than a like overall numbers thing.
right.
If he could somehow get to 70, 80 innings, I what is it though? Is there a minimum? I think it's like 150.
I'm not sure actually. I'm not sure.
Or 100. If you could get over the minimum somehow, you got to put him in there, man. This kid's electric.
Shout out to the White Sox winning a series. No, they drew a series against the Royals. Sorry. So they've been fun. Jose Soriano from the fucking
Angels. Yeah, he's been lights out.
Sorry. 0.33 ERA, another stellar outing. Just some, key performances out there. I'll throw to you guys. Just in general, like the Twins swept the Tigers.
Toronto.
The Tigers.
Tigers.
They swept them 4 games in Minnesota, and then they were able to get 2 off of Toronto. They did lose.
Right, 2-3. Yeah. Yep.
What a weekend for them.
And like I said, if the Yankees took 2 out of 3 out of Tampa, they would have had a nice little footprint in that division. And they kind of dropped the ball the last 4 games, last 5 games. So that's how it works.
Yeah, like a lot of baseball left. Like one thing that I was just thinking is just like, man, I wonder what names. I know it's early as fuck, obviously, but if you look at what names are probably going to be available at the trade deadline, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be super interesting. That's all I will say. Like,
to see what teams are going to be involved as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a couple teams that were good that we didn't expect to be good that now want to shore up their rotation or maybe add a bat. So yeah, that's going to be definitely something interesting to see in the next couple of months to see how some of these teams continue to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it shows you what Toronto's going with, kind of just to finish off those thoughts. Like you can go to the World Series and be inches away, and the next year you get plagued with everything going the exact opposite. So take advantage of that shit when you're there, bro. If not, you're cooked. So many injuries have been going on. Also, like with stiff arms, shoulders, knees, hamstrings, everything like that. It just sucks when you have injuries in baseball, but it's just the ebbs and flows. So that's what's going to be the title of this episode. But I will say, let us know how your team is doing in the comment section. Are you guys jobbing or are you guys succeeding? Let us know. JV, is there anything you want to obviously wrap up, I guess, with?
No, listen, it's Sunday night, and I do hope that we can start the week off. All 3 of our teams, obviously. I hope we can start the week off a little bit better and maybe get back to some winning baseball. That's all I can say really right now.
Well, Mike got the Dodgers. He might as well start praying right now.
He needs Jesus. I don't know who we could pray to. He needs somebody to answer a prayer. But yeah, we all need to wake up though, definitely this week and get back to some winning baseball. So hopefully we can start that this week, Colin.
Yeah, and we will have more content, more baseball content coming up very soon. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. It's going to be amazing. World Cup's right around the corner. We're going to have so much content, so stay tuned. We appreciate you guys. Subscribe here at JBM Sports Media. Follow us on TikTok and IG at JBM Sports Media. Till next time, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.